what I like about this community is that it's a testimony to the value of thought, power of an idea. Most of this culture is anti-thought, anti-intellectual, anti-idea. People are calling for the end of books, the end of libraries, the end of thinking. So I'm thrilled to be a part of a community that knows that an idea is the point. I love the idea that thought matters and action is secondary. Most of the world wants to know something practical. They want a list. They want to know what they can do. I'm thrilled that Berrett-Kohler publishes a minimum of tool books. And I think that's a very courageous thing, even though the pressure's always there. Thoughts on vision. I'm kind of in the middle of the two of you because the question of optimism and pessimism seems to be acts of prediction, which I have no interest in. So it seems to me we're here to create the future rather than to predict it. I know with David that you're right, that there are certain disciplines that pattern us and channel us in certain ways. And the economic system based on scarcity is predatory. And so I think the alternative is an economic system based on generosity, based on abundance. I like the Old Testament Exodus story where the Jews finally decided that things weren't going well. It took us a while, but we finally decided to make the move and into the desert. And the desert is that place with no visible means of support. And we got there and we found out that there was enough. So you say a world that works for all isn't, to me, providing more for everybody, but confronting us with the fact that we have enough. And part of the economy sinks into my soul and says, Peter, whatever you are, you're not enough. So I've given up the language that I'm a work in progress. I've stopped working on myself. I've decided that self-improvement is an act of violence. Despite being demonstrably ineffective. And so this is it. So economics is one domain. Another domain is religion and faith. And I like the faith in God conversation because it creates space for mystery. It creates space for fallibility. I like the notion that mystery means that some things are unknowable, where most of the world thinks we just haven't found out yet. And I like the notion that my fallibility is permanent and unchangeable. And this is it. It's not great. It's not what I ordered. I have gotten a lot of consistent feedback from several life partners over a long period of time. And thank God I'm with the last one. Otherwise, I'd have to offer the next one a guidebook of what won't work. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the other domain is the domain of architecture. If you say, where do you put your attention? I think architecture, the space, the room, not only the economic system, but the religious belief systems I have, is enormously decisive. And at some point, we will have rooms not like this, that we will reach the point where we never line people up like sardines and have them turn their backs on each other. And so architecture is a whole world. I think art is a form of prophecy. And I think part of what Steve and Berrett-Kohler does is a prophetic role, which is two things. One is describe the world as John and David do, and the other is to decide an alternative world, which Meg does so beautifully. And so that's the function of art, is this prophetic role, and it does it through music. And then the last thing is journalism, that we are storytellers, and the dominant narrative is telling a story that's killing us. Because the major story tonight on this news in any city I'm in says, here's what's wrong with you. And if there's nothing wrong in San Francisco, we'll go to Daly City. And so to me, these are the domains of the future and something where the revolution will take place in our thinking about these things. And all of them come together in a place, last thought, which is the virtual world is amazing and only nice. The thought that it's connecting us, the thought that it offers an alternative future, the thought that it, I think, is an illusion. That I can go anywhere on Microsoft. Where do you want to go today? And the fact of the matter is I've gone nowhere. I've been watching television. And I spend my days watching television, and that does not overcome my isolation. It's a great library. It's a great encyclopedia. It's great for business. And from a business perspective, it's revolutionary. From a human perspective, it's nice and just interesting. Anyway, thank you. Meg, next.